Alright, hey, doing something a little bit different, just doing some trophy hunting in Call of Duty, and I just figured just talk about some random stuff while I do so. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, by the way, I guess I should say the trophy I'm going for at the moment. Oops. Gosh, again, man, this UI is way harder to navigate than I like. But anyway, the trophy I'm going for right now, I can't remember what the title is, which is what I'm going through here. This one, 6-pack. Upgrade 6 per skills to tier 3 in zombies. Which is very easy, just very grindy. As you can see, I've already got 4 out of 6. Well, 4 out of 7 really, but 4 out of 6 necessary for the trophy. Upgraded to 3, so I just gotta get Deadshot Daiquiri, and then Tombstone is the other one I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna ignore Quick Revive for now. And yeah, basically you just gotta do good in zombies, and you get those crystals, and then you get those crystals, and you upgrade the skills. Here's one thing that's bothering me: I can't get rid of the dot. I can't get rid of the dot. I hate not being able to get rid of the dot. No matter what I do, the dot doesn't go away. Like, I even go into like personalize and all these, and the dot just doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. It's extremely frustrating. But let's go random. So, gosh, it's like a Greendale human being, only slightly less creepy. It's creepy either way, but I'm gonna leave that as random. So yeah, let's just go ahead and no, I'm definitely not going into multiplayer. I do not have the self-confidence to deal with trying to support other people. So solo. And I know all the ins and outs of this level, so I should be able to get to like round 15 or 20 fairly easily, maybe even further. So I guess now that we got the kind of, let's go. Sure, let's just go down the list. I was using custom class 1 earlier, but now that we got all the housekeeping out of the way of what I'm doing here, let's just talk about the stuff that's going on in the pop culture world, because for the first time in well over a year, I went to the movie theater, which was a crazy experience. And I went and saw, of course, F9, the newest Fast and the Furious. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been all aboard the Fast and the Furious train, even the last one with submarines and hacked cars behaving extremely unrealistically. But I've been all for it. I think F9 might have finally gone too far, and not just too far, but just too far over and over and over again. The movie is absolutely bonkers, and I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about all the craziness of F9. So what I'm gonna do, hopefully this works, so I don't spoil things for people who don't want to be spoiled. Go ahead and see, does this work? Yeah, put that up on screen, and that way anyone that comes in here knows I'm talking about Fast 9 spoilers, and when that goes away, I'll not be talking about Fast 9 spoilers anyway. Speaking of calling it Fast 9, which I realize is not the title, my god, is the naming convention horrible. I guess I'm not really spoiling things right now, but I'm going to leave it up anyway. The naming convention of the Fast and Furious franchise might be the worst naming convention of anything ever. Even worse than Xbox. I mean, think about it. So you had the first one is The Fast and the Furious, which, by the way, is like a pseudo reboot of an old movie. It's like not the same at all, but it's the same title. And then you have Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, okay, you're getting clever. You're just throwing the numbers in there. But then third one, they go back to The Fast and the Furious, and then add a subtitle. It's like, okay, we're back to normal. And then they just are like, oh, let's just drop the thes. So now there's no more thes. So then you got Fast and Furious. And then they decide to just drop Furious. And the next one's just Fast 5. And it's like, okay, I guess they're not angry anymore. They're just driving fast. Things are all hunky-dory in Fast and Furious world. Or, excuse me, Fast world. But then in the sixth one, they go right back to Fast and Furious. No, excuse me. Sixth. Oh, wait. See, this is why it's confusing. Because I think 6 is. Yeah, it's Fast. Is it Fast and Furious 6 or is it Furious 6? I see this. I can't remember. And then the seventh one is the opposite of that. Is either Furious 7 or Fast and Furious 7. And then they get queued again with Fate of the Furious. And then this one's just F9. What rank? What round? I'm in round 4. Oh, I need to leave. But so then I'm going to the theater, and I saw 2 movies this weekend, and both of them I said the name wrong at the ticket booth, or not really ticket. They make you go to the concessions now, which is really obnoxious. It's not going to work on me. Psychological people who try to manipulate me. I'm not gonna buy your overpriced candy. But one of the names I said wrong intentionally. One of the names I said wrong on accident. Didn't even realize until the movie started. so I went up to get the F9 tickets, and I got But I knew it was F9. But I just like. It's just such a stupid title. I didn't want to say F9, but I also didn't want to say like the new Fast and the Furious movie, because that just sounds like I'm an idiot who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So I just called it Fast 9, just because I knew the person would know what I was talking about, and they did. But yeah, I really wish they would be better at naming their movies. But you know the next one's going to be called FX. It makes too much sense, aside from the fact that a movie called FX already exists. There's 2 of them, in fact.
Can't go down.
But yeah. And then the other one I said accidentally wrong. And again, I realize I'm not actually talking about F9 spoilers, even though I have it on screen. But I went to see the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which is interesting considering I never saw the Hitman's Bodyguard. And it's a bonkers movie too, but somehow, like, it's an intentionally bonkers movie, like comedically ridiculous, like very self-aware in how ridiculous it is, and yet it is somehow infinitely more sane and rational than F9.
Hostile expired.
But anyway, when I bought the ticket, I said Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife, which is just, I just swapped 2 of the nouns around. And you know, they knew what I was talking about. They just gave me the ticket, but I just started watching the movie, and the title pops up on the screen. I was like, oh, that makes more sense, I guess, since, you know, Samuel L. is the hitman, and Reynolds is the bodyguard. Yeah, the movie's whack. And I kind of enjoyed both of them, but I'm also partly wondering if that has more to do with the fact that I hadn't been to the movie theater in so long. And so they kind of got the boon of just like being excited to be back. But yeah, I just wish the names of both of them were better. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. My God, can a title not roll off the tongue worse? Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go back to talking about F9 though. Talking about the ridiculousness that is F9. So first of all,
Nothing in the report about
now we're in real spoiler territory. First of all, there's this like running thread throughout the movie
unlike anything we've ever
that
seen before. What in God's name
they
were the
might
Nazis
be
doing here?
literally
What was
invincible,
Project N Station?
which has some
All I wanna
interesting
know is
implications
why
when
are
you
Omega
really
so
think about it.
interesting?
They
Whatever
never
they did here caused the other
they
breaches
never
we
go like
encountered.
fully
Why
into
would
it.
they resurrect the fucking
But like I was totally prepared with how ridiculous
Get the power on.
everything was in this movie. I was totally prepared for them to pull out at the last minute, like that there's something like actually supernatural about it, or that they're like somehow like the chosen ones or something ridiculous like that. And they never go that far. But there's definitely an element of they're invincible throughout the movie, because there's a scene that, first of all, is very much like the scene in Shanghai Noon. So, stealing. But there's a scene where a whole bunch of people shoot at Tyrese Roman, and of course he is not hit, and then he shoots all of them. And he just looks around. He's got some bullet holes in his shirt, which again, this is where it's like Shanghai Noon, where a very similar thing happens to Owen Wilson, and then he kind of pulls out his poncho, and there's just like 20 bullet holes in it. But then that
Dead
like
man neutralized.
that sends Roman down a road of like questioning his own mortality, but not in the way that like a normal human would, of like, oh man, I'm gonna die someday. But he's more like, man, I'm not gonna die someday. I've never even had a scratch from all those ridiculous stuff we've done. And so that's a recurring theme throughout the movie. But then I began to wonder that if they do go down that road and have that be an actual thing,
They're gone.
like not just like a joke, but like they're actually immortal, 'cause then that would sort of explain the Han thing, even though they tried to logically explain that, but that was somehow more illogical. Because so the idea is, okay, so Furious 6, Fast Furious 6, whatever it's called, they mess up Owen Shaw, right? Deckard Shaw is all pissed off, so he's gonna go kill all the Furious crew, and starting with Han. So he goes. Han's doing the helping out Lucas Black in the chase through Tokyo, and then he crashes, and then
One
Deckard
less
Shaw
screamer.
just happens to be there and blows up the car and then kills Han. But somehow Mr. Nobody has predicted all of this. That A, he's going to crash, and that Deckard Shaw is going to try to blow him up after he crashes. And he seems to know where this crash is going to take place. And so he fakes it somehow. They don't really explain how it's faked, just that it is faked. And that Han actually got out of the car before the explosion. Even though I'm pretty sure, in Tokyo Drift, you see him in the car as it explodes. I could be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure you do. But we can ignore that, I guess. But if this plays into the whole immortal thing, it's like when did they obtain this? Is there only one guy left? No, there's two. Oh, there's a lot more. I'm very distracted. Obtain this immortality because skinny guy, I'll just call him Skinny Pete because I can't remember his name, dies in the first one. And I think we can safely assume that in the first movie they were definitely not chosen ones. Like that's the theory I'm going to run with. I'm going to pretend I'm Matt Pat and I know all about how all things work, and I really don't, but let's just pretend I do, and I can come up with this amazing theory that's going to turn out to be right.
Dropped another walking
Because I've done all the research. I have not done all the research. I've done zero research. But let's pretend I have. I'm going to say that they're like the chosen ones. They're the guardians of Earth, and so they've been bestowed immortality, invincibility, can't be killed. So that has to happen at some point. So I think we can safely assume in the first movie they're not, because there's a bunch of criminals. They're hijacking trucks and racing cars illegally. And then you got Brian, he's a cop. But you know, there's no stakes. There's no, I mean, at least not compared to the future movies. You know, it's just a small little story. And I think we can assume that with the second one as well, because it's just another undercover story. All they're doing is stopping like a drug lord or something. I can't remember. All I remember is that he was super creepy. And I don't think he was necessarily supposed to be. I think the actor was just kind of gave me creepy vibes. Well, he was supposed to be a little bit creepy because of the whole Eva Mendes stuff, but whatever. And then Tokyo Drift again. I mean Han. Although, oh, wait, we have to skip Tokyo Drift. I forgot because. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to have 500 bucks before I go through that.
That's what Project End
Can you give me 500 bucks? Is that a?
And that's why Omega came here.
No, you cannot. So we skip Tokyo Drift because it actually occurs later. So let's skip ahead to 4. See, this is where things get interesting. Because again, there's no real... It's more just like stopping criminals. Right. Already? But Letty dies in that movie, but somehow doesn't die in that movie. So is the implication that... I mean, we're getting to like comic book territory, by the way, with the amount of resurrections. Which I guess is only 2, but... You know, it's more than most movie franchises that aren't comic book based. But Letty dies, but then doesn't die. So did she already have the immortality at that point? It's weird, because again, they're not saving the world yet. Fast 5, again, they're not saving the world. But nobody really dies either, except for all of Dwayne Johnson's crew. Like his cop crew, his special forces crew, they all die. But I guess they're not important. They're not the chosen ones, so they get to stay dead. Or have to stay dead. So then we skip ahead to 6. And then this is, again, where things get interesting. Because where does the immortality start? Because Giselle dies, but she stays dead, as far as we know. But Han dies immediately at the end of that movie, which again technically occurs in Tokyo Drift, but there's some there's some overlap here. But he seems to have been bestowed immortality because he doesn't die, even though again it's faked. But we'll pretend that there's some sort of divine intervention that makes this all work, and that's why Han survives. So then the question is, if they already had immortality when Letty was killed in 4, so that no one dies from here on out. No one of the crew. Then why did Giselle die? Like, did she... Because I remember she was working for the bad guy in 4, right? So maybe she had some, like... I mean, they've all been bad guys at some point, right? Or maybe she had crossed too many lines or something, so she didn't deserve immortality. I don't know. I'm just trying to make this all work logically in my head, which is an incredibly stupid thing to do with the Fast and the Furious franchise, but I'll try. But yeah. So anyway, that's one crazy. That's one of like 70 crazy things in Fast and Furious 9 and F9. So then, a good way of describing this movie is that it goes to Bollywood levels of absurdity, of like physics-defying stunts. Because so they're driving through this jungle and whatever. There's there's a part where and okay, so I'll explain why like a ridiculous scene in one movie still somehow makes like 1,000 times more sense than the ridiculous thing in this movie, where they just I guess they just gave up on trying to make things make any sense at all. So in the sixth one, God, there's so many of them, aren't there? But in the sixth one, no, I want to push you. Okay. In the sixth one, there's a scene where they're on the freeway and they're like way high up, and Letty gets like thrown out of a car or whatever, and is falling to her death. But then Dom comes out of nowhere and jumps out of his car and catches her midair, and they land on the freeway. Stupid scene, incredibly unrealistic, but there's some logic to it because you know they would still die, right? But I can logically make the leap of like falling, you know, I don't know how far it was, like 500, 1,000 feet, whatever it was, is worse than falling 20 feet, even at incredible speeds. So I can see. Oh shoot! What am I doing? So what I'm saying is I can see the logic here. At least compared to F9, where a very similar scene happens, where she gets flung out of a car and is flying through the air, and Dom's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save her," and like does a e-brake turn, whatever, and catches her on the hood of her car. I'm like, that's literally no different than landing on the ground. Like either way, she's going to break every bone in her body. Like I do not understand the logic that they were going for there. But I guess it's like dodgeball. If you catch the ball, then you're safe. But so that's one thing, and then there's the whole bridge. Just the entire bridge scene is just asinine. So first you have all characters in the big truck. They're driving to the bridge, and I can suspend my disbelief to the point where like this, you know, 2-ton car, armored vehicle can drive on this bridge. I can suspend my disbelief to that.
Incredible.
But what I can't suspend my belief in is when that bridge starts to fall apart because another car behind him breaks the poles that's keeping it upright. So the bridge starts falling down, which means there's no more tension on any of the wood. It is right? There's no more tension, and yet they continue to drive up the wood. I'm like, that doesn't. You can't do that. That's not even remotely close to how physics work. It's one thing if like a character climbs up a thing, right? Because they can at least push up like against the wood, but like push down because like the rope is still pulling it down, right? Or keep like spinning it up. But there's not. Anyway, like I'm doing a bad job of explaining this. But it's just incredibly stupid that this car drives up a falling bridge that has no tension on it, and then that's followed by something that's even more absurd. Oh, where'd you go? What'd you do? What are you doing? Also, I need to. What am I doing? See, this is what happens when I try to talk while playing a game. Is I'm lost. Let's get you. And get you. Give me something good. Yeah. I like getting LMGs. I'm not gonna use you for now. Wow, that was dumb. I should have meleeed him. But anyway. Immediately followed that is the scene which they show in the trailer, and I immediately knew how stupid it was. And I was kind of dreading it. Because, again, and crossing the line of maybe too stupid. It's the scene where he hooks the end of the rope, like it's attached to a bit of wood, and he somehow snags it in his wheel and does a sort of like rope swing with the car across the giant chasm. To which they don't even really make it to the other side. Like, they literally hit the rock wall and flip over, but are somehow perfectly fine. No airbags go off or anything. So, and this is like the first action sequence of the movie, which usually the first action sequence of a Fast and Furious movie is relatively tame, and I say relatively. That's the key word, relatively, compared to the climactic scenes of these movies. But somehow, this one they're like, no, just go stupid immediately. So yeah, first big action sequence ends with a car rope swinging across what looks to be a few thousand feet, like a very long way. And then like it doesn't even have the scene like doesn't even have an ending. Like I guess they're trying to get away from the bad guys, but because Dom's brother is already gone in a magnet plane thing. And yes, I said those are the words I meant to say. But sorry, I was busy shooting zombies in the head. But the scene, yeah, they get to the other side and they're like, "Oh, we made it," and then the scene just ends and they just transition to like the next sequence. And then yeah, it just gets more and more ridiculous from there somehow. Like I'm now struggling to remember all the different crazy stuff. Like I know there was stuff that like was just too much. Oh, like just the fact that like okay, so one thing I love about Fast 9 F9 is some of the stuff that they I guess meant as like Easter eggs. But there's like a whole bunch of flashback stuff to Dom and John Cena's
Who's next? I'm ready.
like early life and when their dad died, which I was impressed by that they managed to connect that lore somewhat reasonably, which they mentioned in the very, very first movie. Never brought up again, but they mentioned that someone had wrecked his dad in a race, and then that Dom, I don't think killed him. They don't even really show in this movie. I think the wording they used, if I remember right, it's been a long time, but the wording is beat him to within an inch of his life, something like that. Which they do show that he beats him up, but they don't show the end result. Which I'm pretty sure he's not dead. I'm pretty sure he just like really messes him up. Are you? No, you're not the last one. All right, you're the last one. Speed Cola. That's what I want now. But like the whole thing there is that like John Cena had like sabotaged the car, but he actually did it at the request of his dad, which made getting pitted like particularly bad. Like it would have been fine if he hadn't got pitted, but because he did get pitted, it did this whole crazy thing. Which, that's another thing I want to talk about, because like it's something I actually looked up. So it's like this amateur racing league thing, right? Like it's not like professional wrestling, or racing. But you know, it is like an official league, like official it's not like underground racing. Like this is like a real thing that these people are getting actually paid to do, like legally. And like I looked up the NASCAR rules on contact, and like it straight up says like you cannot intentionally wreck another opponent, which I would think would mean that like pitting someone, like the act of pitting is inherently trying to wreck another racer. So I feel like if you pitted someone, which by the way, this is the second time that this guy had pitted at another car in this race. He had done it to another car earlier, and so then he does it to Dom's dad. And I'm like, after the first time, I'm pretty sure like any self-respecting league would throw the yellow flag, which they do. They do actually throw the yellow flag. That's like a whole thing that leads to John Cena's ability to sabotage the car. because he does it in the pit stop. But I feel like after that, after they saw that he was pitted, the first guy was pitted, you think they would just like immediately disqualify the guy who did it? Like, just get out of here! Like, we don't want you killing your competitors. But they don't, and guess what? He does. So yeah, that was a bit silly to me. But maybe it's not silly. Maybe you can totally pit other racers in amateur racing leagues, but I find that unlikely. Like, it'd be one thing if it had been like if they had established it as like an underground illegal racing ring, like they were using the track at night and it was not sanctioned or anything. But no, it was totally just like a regular racing league. It just seems silly to me. And that's another thing about this movie. Speaking of the flashbacks, which is going to kind of connect me to my original thought in a little bit. But they cast like a younger guy as Vin Diesel. But it's weird because it takes place in like 1989. This flashback. So like 12 years before the first Fast and Furious movie, where Vin Diesel appears to be like a 30-year-old dude. I mean, I guess maybe he was like 35. But like, this guy's like a full-blown adult in 1989, and A, doesn't look anything like Vin Diesel aside from being bald, or balding. He actually does have hair, but balding, and being like mixed race, but like he definitely has a very definite darker skin tone. And he has none of the facial features that Vin Diesel. It's just a weird casting for a young Vin Diesel, which I was kind of glad they didn't do the whole de-aging thing, because my God, is that overused these days. But I wish they had cast someone that looked a little bit more like Vin Diesel. I guess that's hard to do, but it was weird. And then the John Cena one was even worse, because the guy is like half the size of him, but he still looks like an adult. Like, it doesn't look like a 16-year-old kid. Well, I mean, maybe, but still, like half the size, much lighter hair. Doesn't have the distinctive chin that they. Maybe he did have the distinctive chin. I can't remember. But it was just weird casting for these younger versions. But speaking of younger versions, what I loved is that there's one flashback where they race against each other. Dom and John Cena. Young Dom and young John Cena. I can't remember the character name, so I'm just going to keep calling him John Cena. But in the background, you can totally see, based on the way they're dressed and the way they look, you can totally see that the skinny guy, Skinny Pete is what I'm going to call him. That's from Breaking Bad, but I'm going to pretend. That's from Fast and Furious. Skinny Pete and Vince are totally there in the background, and Mia and Letty as well, but they bring zero attention to it. They're just there. They don't have lines. They don't even like give them like one like close-ups or anything. They're just there. And it's very strange, but I kind of appreciate it at the same time. Whoever they get to play as young Vince was probably the best, like as far as like actually looking like Vince. Hey, I don't like these Megaton guys. They're rather annoying. LMGs are good for cutting down though.
So the creature is still alive.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there's two of them now.
What else
So
happened in
you may be even more
F9 that was
pissed
stupid? Oh yeah, like there's the whole like rocket car thing where they race like these people, Lucas Black and Bow Wow, no longer Lil. We'll call him Big Bow Wow. And this other guy who I can't remember if he was in another movie or not, but they build like a rocket car and they like are racing like a jet engine thing, rocket thing. and they lose, but they're happy that it doesn't blow up, but then it does blow up anyway. And the whole scene just feels weird. And that's another thing. Okay, that's another thing. Oh, don't kill that guy. I want to talk about with this movie. They have way too many characters, and they do not do a good job of balancing. Like, remember how deftly Infinity War and Endgame handled having so many different characters, and it was like really impressive that they managed to keep it from me feeling overstuffed or without like stiffing really any of the characters and giving them not enough screen time. This movie does not. This movie managed to both feel overstuffed because they're just pulling characters from every single Fast and Furious movie, except for Dwayne Johnson, thanks to I think Tyrese Gibson. But then I also like do not give enough like Han. Despite bringing him back, he felt very underused, and he also just like he didn't have the same charm like charm that he had before. Because like a big thing of Han and why everyone loves him so much is that aloofness, right? Like he never feels phased. He never feels too serious, but like he is very serious throughout this movie. He never really feels like he's true Han. You know what I mean? And then Queenie is in it for half a minute, and that definitely felt like just put Helen Mirren in it for a little bit. Also, it's like Cypher, Charlize Theron. They bring her back, but like they bring her back for like one scene in the beginning, and then she's like not in the movie for like an hour and a half, and they finally bring her back for like the climax. But I'm distracting myself very well. Also, Cardi B was in it for a tiny bit. And I don't know about the rest of the world, but I don't know if there's anyone I find more insufferable than Cardi B. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know she's got a lot of fans. I am not one of them. She's got a very annoying voice, which I understand. I understand a person can't control their voice, so you shouldn't really criticize someone for that. But I'll just say it's a little bit grating. And also, she just seemed like an obnoxious person outside of that. Like, outside of the voice. Like, even if I take away the voice thing, which I should, because that's not fair to her, she still seems annoying. And maybe that's rude. But it's how I feel. But you know what? I think she's rich enough that I don't think she cares what I say. So I shouldn't be too worried about it. Yeah, she's literally just there for one scene. And Lucas Black and Bow Wow are in there for just a little bits at a time. Kind of like in the middle and then towards the end. That was I think I will say I think that was the moment that I gave up on even trying to suspend my own disbelief, is when the shot, because they do, spoiler alert, I don't know I said it on screen, but they do go to space. Ludacris and Roman, Tyrese and Tej, they go to space in a rocket car. Which, okay, that was the most ridiculous thing. So like building their rocket car. Like that's something I can suspend my disbelief in a little bit. That they've scraped together a bunch of junk and managed to build a rocket out of it. But then when they're sending this car to space, a car which has previously blown up, by the way. But when they're sending this car to space, like they're taking it in like this big old plane before they launch. Like they launch in while already in the sky off this like big military-looking plane. I'm like, where did they they clearly do not work for NASA or any other sort of aerospace like official company. Oh, How did... That's not what I wanted. I need to get stamina up. Die, man. Ow. So I have no idea where they got this plane, but they somehow did. And they sent him to space. Yeah, the image of a Pontiac Fiero just floating in space, it felt very much like I was watching, I don't know, like Spaceballs or something, like an absurdist comedy instead of an action movie. It was very strange, to say the least. And then there's that whole climax with the big old truck, and like when they like pull the Dark Knight thing where the truck goes upright, but only it's stupid and looks stupid because I'm pretty sure it's like mostly CGI instead of the like actual truck that they used in Dark Knight. I should rewatch Dark Knight. That's a good movie. But oh yeah, that was another thing. Man, it's all now coming back to me. Things I hated about F9. The things I liked. There are things I liked. It had some fun quips and some fun sequences. There was a lot I really didn't like about it. And one of the things I really didn't like about it was this really like weirdly out of place, like Star Wars metaphor scene, like, which has an okay punchline, but like the setup to get to the punchline is kind of excruciating. So, you know, the crew, they get a little bit of a victory over the bad guys, right? And so he's like, I need to send all my guys. He's like, get everything you guys can get: cars, tanks, planes, whatever you can get access to, X-wings. Which they could have stopped there. They could have stopped there, and it would have been fine. I would have been like, funny little offhanded comment. No, get the armor. But then he goes like, or the Millennium Falcon, or you know, if you can hire Chewbacca, hire him. I'm like, man, the writers in this scene really got carried away. I'm getting that back. They took a joke that was a mildly humorous joke and took it way too far to the point where it was no longer humorous and in fact kind of annoying. But then they keep it up because then he starts talking to Cypher, and they start talking about like how he's like he considers himself the Luke Skywalker of this story, which is ridiculous because he's pretty much almost he's essentially building a Death Star. Like he's building a thing that can, or stealing a thing, I guess. Thing that can control all of the planet's weapons systems, which, you know, could then destroy the planet. So essentially a Death Star. Yeah, he sees himself as Luke instead of Vader. Okay. But then she's like, no, you're more like Yoda. I'm like, where the hell is this going? Like, that's like I thought she was gonna set him straight and be like, you're an idiot, you're clearly Vader. But no, she calls him Yoda, which also doesn't make sense. But then again, the punchline is halfway decent. Or the punchline is, he's a puppet with. Oh, I thought that. Damn it! I thought that was insta-kill.
Raptor 1
That
is
was a
nearby,
waste.
strike team. Exfil window is short, so take it now if you're ready.
Yeah. A puppet with someone else's hand up his ass is the punchline, which is an okay punchline. Oh, actually, I don't have enough, do I? Oh, yeah, I do. Or do I? No, I don't. I need 4,000. Oops. Ow. This is bad. But anyway, yeah, all in all, F9, kind of a ridiculous movie. So I guess that's it for F9 spoilers. So let's go back to that. Did that work? Hold on. I need to pause to make sure that. Yeah, that worked. Like I said, I also saw Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which again may have benefited from me just being excited to be at the theaters again, because I kind of liked it. But in hindsight, it was maybe not such a great movie. I don't know. Like, they definitely take, like I get that it's part of the character, but the whole joke of Selma Hayek's character just like spewing vulgarity for like 2 minutes straight, and they do that like 10 times throughout the movie. It just starts to, it gets old. It wears thin very quickly. And, you know, and she's a good actress. It's fun to watch her do it, but you can only do it so many times before you get tired of it. Alright, it's probably stupid of me. I'm gonna try to punch all of you. Because max points. I need all the points. Because I've been doing bad on points for a while. Alright, I think that's the last guy. No, it's not. Get you. Alright, is that the last guy now? Yes. Alright. Now I actually have the cashola to pack a punch, so that's good. But yeah. So now let's transition to a new topic. Another thing I've done this week is I watched, and this is a movie I'd already watched previously, but I watched 2 versions oh gosh, Apocalypse Now, because Amazon had their Prime Day sale in the box set for Apocalypse Now. Or actually, Apocalypse Now, I guess I got pre-Prime Day, because they had like a buy 2 get 1 free Blu-ray thing. So I got like Apocalypse Now. I can't even remember what the other 2 things were. Animal House, which, whew, that movie, it's funny, but it also does not hold up. I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. What was the other thing? Animal House, Apocalypse Now. What was the third thing? And I don't remember. But anyway, what I want to talk about in regards to Apocalypse Now, because I think I'm realizing something about myself that might be outside the norm, or maybe it's totally inside the norm. I don't know. I've never really been able to get a good gauge on how people feel about these kinds of things. Anyway, I watched the theatrical version. And then a few days later, I watched the redo. I never know how to pronounce that, but basically it's just like it's basically a director's cut, which, whew, is very long. And I'm beginning to realize I think I don't like director's cuts of movies, unless maybe the director's cut actually cuts more out of the movie, which I realize is never going to happen. But the problem is, so once I know, like, I think I'm realizing that once I know a movie works as is, adding scenes to that just feels unnecessary, because the movie already works without those scenes. Why do you need those scenes? And I was definitely feeling that with Apocalypse Now, because every extra scene is like, this feels superfluous. It's not really adding to the plot. It's not really adding to the character development in any way. In fact, I would argue that the Redux version it doesn't really adhere to Captain Willard's character. At least I didn't feel like it did compared to the theatrical version, because like there's a couple sequences that just felt off to me compared to the theatrical version. Because if you watch the theatrical version, and like basically Captain Willard, Martin Sheen's character, like through the war, like I think you can assume that the war is the cause of this, but he is a joyless man. He is a man that's focused on his mission, and that everything else around him, like nothing else matters. He's just got to do his mission, and he doesn't smile. He doesn't laugh. He's got to kill Kurtz, right? Or maybe not, because that's part of the whole thing. Is like, is he going to kill Kurtz? Is he not? We don't know, unless you've read the Heart of Darkness. But if you hadn't, then you don't know. But there's some sequences in the Redux version I feel like just completely break. Oh no, don't die. Don't die. No, don't die. Don't die, you're the last one. Stay alive. Stay alive, my friend. You can survive this. It's just a little bit of brain rot. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right? You can kick this. I don't have the money to go buy any thing, I don't think. So I'm not gonna... Wait. What's happening? Why? Where did you come from? Yeah, I think I need 4,000 to buy a perk. So it starts at 2,500, then your next perk is 3,000, and 3,500. So yeah, then 4,000. Just kill you. But please don't kill me in the process. But yeah, there's a scene where they extend the scene with Kilgore, where they are trying to get away from him because he just desperately wants Lance to surf. But again, Willard just wants to get his mission done, so they basically run away from Kilgore. But then, oh, hello. But then in the process, they just... Ooh, pet? Yes, please. I mean, this feels weird. I don't know that I'd want to pet a plague hound. Alright, whatever. I was not allowed. But they steal a surfboard from him. And then run away on their boat. Escape on their boat. But like they like pull, because Willard is the one who steals it, which in and of itself is, I feel like, a weird thing for Willard to have done. It feels out of character to me. But as he's like laying in the boat, he's like laughing, and it's like this whole like, oh, it's a prank. They stole the board. It's a good time. And I get that it's supposed to be like a reprieve from the oppressive nature of war, but I feel like that's like the whole point of the movie, is that war is relentlessly oppressive. Like to the point where the one like reprieve scene in the theatrical version is the Playboy Bunny scene, which ends with a bunch of soldiers storming the stage, and the Playboy Bunny is having to escape by helicopter while soldiers hang from the helicopter. So even the one reprieve scene ends in madness, which again is like the whole point of the movie. So it just felt weirdly out of place to have like this like cheeky, silly scene in the movie. It felt out of place, and then they have another scene later on, again with the Playboy bunnies. That's only in the Redux version, where he trades oil with or fuel or whatever with, I think it was diesel, yeah, diesel fuel, with the I guess manager or whatever of these Playboy bunnies. So I guess they didn't have enough fuel to actually fly out of Vietnam, so they needed more. But in exchange for his squad mates to have like 2 hours with them, and again he's like all laughing and smiling at this whole thing, which again, two things: A, I feel like Willard is not supposed to smile. I think he does a little bit in the theatrical version in the Playboy scene, but I think part of that, I think he starts to smile when everything starts to fall apart. You know what I mean? And even then, it's just like a slight smirk. Which again, I think it's part of the thing. Is like, yeah, the whole movie. It's like, you know, war makes people go mad, which is a little bit. You know, PTSD is not exactly like madness, right? It's a little bit different. It's a very simplified way of looking at it, but that is the point. And so, at the beginning of the movie, he's already like a seasoned vet, and he's already crazy. He's like punching a mirror and then weeping for a long time. So like the idea that he would get joy out of seeing things go wrong makes a certain amount of sense. But like just joy from like normal joyful things. I mean, it's not that normal. That's another thing I want to talk about. But yeah, it just felt like it didn't feel true to the character. But maybe that's just me. So that's another thing about the... Oh, no. No, they all got brain rot. I should not have bought brain rot. It's too dangerous. I shouldn't go try to pack-a-punch my shotgun. As much as I'd like to. Trying to do anything while there's like 100 zombies on your hiney. It's never smart. I just saw the name of this gun. I like it. Psychotropic Thunder. Psychotropic, I guess, but oh jeez. Oh, hello. But yeah, so the second Playboy Bunny scene in the Redux version is where, you know, they get set up to basically sleep with these Playboy bunnies, which is very weird. But the whole thing is supposed to be like a commentary on exploitation. Oh gosh. No. I can survive. I survived. The whole thing is, yeah, commentary on exploitation, but then it is in itself exploitation. So I don't really, because like they totally get their tops off and everything. Like, I feel like you could have done the scene without resorting to also exploiting your actresses, but you know, that's fine, I guess. Not really, but whatever. Like, one of the characters is literally lamenting the fact that she's had to do things she didn't want to do while working for Playboy. And I'm like, well, what about this actress? Like, is she feeling the same way here? And, you know, they make a joke out of it, because, like, she has, like, this whole dialogue about this. And then she starts to get busy with Lance. And then, like, the joke is Clean is staring through the window. And she's like, whoa, who are you? And he's like, I got next. Or I'm next. Right? And that's, you know, pointing out the exploitative nature of the whole thing. But I'm like, again, it still feels very exploitative. Just like within the movie, like as like the movie feels exploitative in this moment. But you know, again, maybe that's just my weird opinion on things. And go pack a punch. A shotgun. It's always good to have a couple of options. So I think that's mostly all I want to talk about with Apocalypse Now. Although I guess I should expound more on my whole director's commentary thing, because, or director's cut thing. Because again, I do think the theatrical version is superior. Oh, because that was another thing. Oh gosh. Oh, no, 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 no. Is that there's this whole like 20-minute sequence, which also has a weird bit of exploitation in it, where there's like it's like an implied sex scene, but again, the lady takes her top off. And it's like if you weren't going to go all the way, then why even go part of the way? It just feels strange. But yeah, it's like this 20-minute sequence where the one nice thing about the sequence is it gives Clean a funeral scene, which is good because it's a nice bit of closure. But then you also have to suffer through this 20-minute sequence of Martin Sheen having dinner with all these French soldiers and talking about like how the French have lost too many wars and that they don't want to give up this little bit of earth that they've taken in Vietnam, which is why they don't want to leave. And they basically say the same, like take 20 minutes to say something they could have said in 2 minutes. But I guess Francis Ford Coppola got a little carried away with that scene because, oh my god, does it go way too long. And I'm glad the theatrical version does not have that scene because the flow of the movie is much better without it. It also feels like a scene from a different movie. Like it doesn't feel like it's part of Apocalypse Now. It's just like this weird other thing. It's like they inserted a short film within the larger film. But oh. Get out of here.
He's down for good this time.
Yeah. So then I'm going to espouse an opinion that I'm going to assume is an unpopular opinion. But again, I've never really been able to get a good gauge on it. And that is, I do not care for the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings movies. I bought it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Prime Day. Prime Day is where I get all my good movies. But they are having a sale on that for like super cheap because it's normally like a really expensive box set to get the 3 of them. But it was like $60 or something on Prime Day. Like, well, might as well get that because it's normally like $150 or something absurd like that. Maybe even more. What am I doing? Getting this is what I'm doing. I do not have enough for another one. But yeah, again, much like with Apocalypse Now, like every new bit of footage, it just feels superfluous. I'm just like, there's a reason why this scene was cut from the theatrical edition, and that's that it's not contributing to the plot, it's not contributing to character development, it's not like a particularly compelling sequence, like as a standalone sequence, it's just there. And so I'm watching these and I'm just actively wanting them to end. In the entire trilogy, in the entire extended trilogy, there's only one scene that I felt like was actually a worthy addition, and that is the Saruman death scene at the beginning of Return of the King. Like, if I could get a version of Lord of the Rings that was the theatrical versions, but it just added that scene, I would get that in a heartbeat. Because every other edition, again, it just wears on you, especially when the movies are already so long. Like Apocalypse Now, I don't even know how long Apocalypse Now is theatrically, but I imagine it had to be at least 2.5, maybe even like 2 hours and 45 minutes. But like the Redux version is 3 hours and 16 minutes long. And then when you get to the Lord of the Rings movie, which is already like almost 3 hours for the first two, well over 3 hours for the third one, and then you're adding all this extended footage so that they're all over 3 hours, and the third one is 4.5 hours long. It's just like it just gets stupid. Like I don't want to watch a movie that long, especially when half the scenes feel unnecessary. Anyway, that's kind of my opinions on director's cuts. Is that I don't like them. What's another one I've seen? 'Cause there was another one I was thinking about the other day, and I can't remember. There was another one where I preferred the original to the director's cut, but I can't remember. I can't remember which one that is. But the one thing I have thought about, what I have considered, is that maybe a director's cut thing is only good for a movie that doesn't work to begin with. So then I got to thinking maybe I would actually like the Snyder's cut. I've never watched it because I wasn't a huge fan of Justice League, to say the least. But I hated Batman vs Superman, like really, really hated that movie. So I kind of have like a bias against Zack Snyder because of that. And, you know, the whole Joss Whedon thing sucks. That, you know, there's just good reason not to like the man anymore. But I just don't think that would be a compelling enough reason for me to like the Snyder Cut more. But, you know, maybe it actually would be better because, you know, Justice League didn't work with the scenes that were in there. But maybe it would work with all these extra scenes. I don't know. I also don't like the fact that it's like 4:3. That really put me off from wanting to watch it. So I just didn't. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, I don't know. One thing I still gotta watch, because the box set of the Apocalypse Now came with 3 versions of the movie. Came with the theatrical, the Redux, and final cut, which I don't know if that's going to be even longer, but I've got to get around to watching that sometime within the next week or so. Maybe I'll report back on if that one's better. It'd be nice if final cut was like shorter than Redux but longer than the theatrical version, because then maybe it could be like the ultimate version, you know? I don't know. But yeah, I find that I much prefer theatrical cuts to director's cuts, because the added scenes never really seem to do much for me. And again, I think part of that is that I know the movie works without them, so why would I need them in the film? I don't know. Hey, so I was gonna talk about Animal House, which, you know, it's one of those movies that you feel like you gotta watch as you know, it's classic comedy. But as a classic comedy, there's a lot about it that really does not hold up. First of all, like the whole subplot with the girl that turns out to be 13 just feels, I mean, I guess it was supposed to be icky back then, but I feel like it feels even more icky now. I don't know why, but it's like it feels less funny and more just disturbing nowadays. So I wasn't a huge fan of that particular joke. But, you know, that's just one element. There's also a lot of kind of rapey undertones, which that's one of them, because even though she was consenting, like, the idea is that you can't get real consent from an underage person, right? So it's just all gross. But then, you know, John Belushi's always hanging out under bleachers, looking up girls' skirts, and staring through the window, which that scene really doesn't make sense. Like, and that's one thing I was not expecting about Animal House. Like, I knew it was going to be like a screwball comedy, but I didn't realize that it was going to be a little bit absurdist as well. Because there's a lot about the movie that just, like, doesn't make sense, but it's, like, supposed to not make sense. Like, it's not just wacky, it's just, like, straight up, like, cartoonish. Like, almost like Monty Python-ish. And one of those scenes where he's staring through the window, and somehow these girls, none of them see him, even though he's clearly got lighting on him, which, you know, that's studio lighting. But I guess maybe the idea is that there's not light outside, and so since they have light on inside, it's hard to see out. I don't know, but it was very bizarre. And again, it's like that stuff would not fly as much in a comedy these days. And then there was some real weird racial comedy that I feel like really did not hold up. There's a scene where they go to like a black bar, and you know all the black people are like very standoffish with them, which does actually make sense, especially considering the time period, because it takes place in 1962, so there were a lot of racial tensions at the time. The movie, I think, came out in like 1980, 79, somewhere around there, but it took place in 62. But what I found to be kind of disturbing was the fact that, so they're in here and all the black people are like staring at them and, you know, giving them, you know, dirty looks, which that all again makes sense for the time period, but because, you know, black people probably wouldn't have been allowed in. I mean, in 1962, I wouldn't have been allowed in like a white bar. So white people coming to a black bar would have been a particularly frustrating thing for a black person, I would think. But what was really disturbing about it in their depiction of this is that they basically like scare away the three white dudes, and then like kind of like force the three white girls to be on dates with them instead. And I'm like, this feels like, and I'm going to compare it to a scene from Blazing Saddles, where the Blazing Saddles scene I think holds up way better because of what it's making fun of. What is that? What is that? What is that? I've never found that before. That's weird. But there's a scene where in Blazing Saddles where they're trying to trick the KKK guys. And so the Cleavon Little steps out and he yells, "Where are the white women at?" And of course that works as bait for the KKK guys who fall for it. And that was the entire point of the joke, is making fun of white fear, of like black guys like stealing white women. Like it's making fun of white people being afraid of that. But I feel like the Animal House scene actually like is that fear, just like kind of just like the joke is that I guess black people would do that. Even yeah, it was a very bizarre scene, and I was not a fan of it, and was glad when it was over. It was just weird. It was just a weird scene. Other than that, though, you know, it wasn't like super funny, but it had its moments. I was surprised because, you know, it's interesting when you see an iconic scene, but like it seems like way smaller than it's been built up over time. And the scene I'm thinking about is the food fight scene, because like you know, you think of Animal House, you think of the food fight scene, like that's the scene. Well, either that or a toga party, right? But like the food fight scene, it's like not even a scene. Like he yells "food fight," and then people start throwing food for half a second, and then they cut to the next scene. Like it's like this tiny little like throwaway joke in the movie. But yeah, it's like kind of this iconic scene. But the much better John Belushi movie is Blues Brothers, which I highly recommend to anyone who has not seen it. Animal House you can probably skip, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like I realize it's kind of highly regarded as a classic comedy, but I could leave it. Alright. Oh, I'm getting stuck from behind. Oh, I hate these guys. Ugh, get out of here. Oof. Yeah, I really hate their ranged attack. Nope. Oh, I wanted those points. What am I... Oh, I've got so much scrap built up. It's funny how well you can actually do while distracted.
Maybe reconsider your attack.
Like, I'm actually doing pretty good here. Like, I'm doing better than I was earlier when when this game had my full undivided attention. I need to make sure I kill this guy. Is it 9:37? Yeah, I'll probably go for another 20 minutes here. I don't want you. So what else should I talk about? Talk about Loki. I don't know if I have much to say about it though. I like it. It's good. Third scene had the fourth episode had a interesting post-credit scene that I was very confused by, but also very intrigued by, and I'm looking forward to next week. Man, I gotta say, I'm not much of a binger. Like, I've never really liked watching like 5 episodes of a show in one night. So you'd think that I would be a-okay with this kind of new system. Man, brain not rot, it actually kind of works against me in a lot of ways, because it keeps me from being able to... Oh, you know what I need to do? I know how to fix it. Just use my other gun when I'm on the last guy, or when I get down to like the last people. But anyway. Oh no, this is a bad... I don't like having megatons and plague hounds at the same time. It's bad for me. It's bad for my survival. Although this gun is pretty overpowered at this point. But anyway, I don't like binging, but what I do like is watching like an episode a day. So it'd be nice if they put out every episode of Loki at once, and then I could just like watch it over the course of a week instead of like 6 or 7 weeks, however many episodes it is. But nope, gotta wait a week between episodes. I thought we were done with having to do that, but we're not. Oh gosh. So anyway, now I'm going back to the theaters. I'm like excited about movies again. Except the part where like nothing good is coming out this weekend. Like I'm still, because I've got Regal Unlimited. Because I like movies that much that I'm very willing to shill out $200 so I could see all the movies I could possibly want. And because of that, like in 2019, I'd actually, for the first time in my life, I'd seen every single Best Picture movie before the Oscars. I was like, oh, this is cool. So I can form like an actual opinion on who wins. And Parasite was my second favorite movie that year. I was kind of pulling for Jojo Rabbit, but I was fully happy for Bong Joon-ho and the rest of that crew. It's a very, very good movie, Parasite. But anyway, I was looking at what's coming out this weekend, and you got like the Forever Purge, which I've never seen any of the Purges because I don't like horror movies, and I know they're not technically horror, they're more like thrillers, I guess, but I feel like there's probably still going to be jump scares, which I really hate. And it's also very creepy. And speaking of creepy, actually, I'm going to transition to another topic real quick. I've had like some weird experiences at work recently, or at work, or like on my way to work, depending. Because today, I was walking to work, and there was like a bunch of garbage strewn about a corner. But the unsettling thing was like, so it wasn't all garbage, like because the garbage, bunch of garbage on the ground like that, that's just city life. But like there was like a stack of books there that seemed very placed instead of like dropped, because it was a pretty neat stack. And then the thing that made it like actually unsettling was amidst all of it was a Michael Myers mask. And it's like, that's not a thing you want to see first thing in the morning. Is a bunch of trash on the ground with a Michael Myers mask just like lying in the middle of it all. I was very creeped out and not happy. Not a happy camper to see that in the morning. Because now I'm like, am I like a marked man? Like, is this like the beginning of a horror movie? Is this like The Ring? I have like 7 days to make someone else see that, or else I'll die. Yeah, not great. And then the other creepy thing that happened to me recently, not happened to me, but that I saw, was like where I work. We're basically like in an alleyway essentially. Like our windows is out to like an alley. It's technically a street, like it's got a street name and everything, but it's a glorified alleyway. So you see a bunch of weird stuff in there sometimes. You see a lot of homeless people and whatnot. You know, yelling about stuff. Like we had a guy actually break in once. That was pretty crazy because like my coworker had been in before any of us, and it was like I was gonna be the only one there after her. But like since she was there first, like this guy was just like in the office, so she had to like run and get the security guy or security lady actually, and she was able to chase the guy off. But like that was like it was a really scary day for my coworker. A bit unsettling for me, but like having not experienced it personally, there's a little bit of a separation there. But anyway, let's talk about less serious stuff, because that was a very serious incident. What is hopefully less serious, because I don't know, maybe there's some more insidious implications to this. But I just like looked out the window one day, and I saw, because you see movement out of the corner of your eye, and you look. Right? So I saw a movement out of the corner of my eye. I looked out the window. A guy was walking by in a bunny costume. And this was June, so, Easter was long gone. But there's just a dude in a bunny costume walking by. And it was like a raggedy, dirty looking bunny costume, too. I was like, am I in Dead by Daylight right now? Is this a serial killer? Do I have to worry about this? But he just kept on. Oh, I forgot to switch to my... Can I kill my brain? Can I kill... No, die! No. Okay, that did not... I did not prepare properly. Alright, I'm gonna try to get to round 25, and then I'll bug out then. But yeah, that's extremely creepy to see outside your window. There's a dude in a... Not even a well-kept bunny costume, but like a crappy... Probably got like a bunch of tears, got dirt all over it, bunny costume. But I just pretended I didn't see it and went about the rest of my day. Never really thought about it again. Alright, that's not true. I thought about it a lot, but I tried not to. But I don't know. I honestly don't know which is creepier, the bunny thing or the Michael Myers thing. Because the Michael Myers thing, like. Part of me wonders if it was like a weird sort of art piece, again especially with the books being stacked the way they were. I was wondering if someone intentionally made this sort of tableau as just like a weird city art thing. But I don't know who it would be for, because it's kind of just a random, like, not super well trafficked corner. So I don't know why someone would put it there. But the bunny costume thing is like a person like made the decision to wear that and walk around the city. And it's like, I don't know, and you know what, maybe they were just out of like maybe they forgot to wash their cloth masks for pandemic reasons. They're like, oh, the only thing I got that can protect me from COVID is this bunny costume. You know what, I'm going to choose to believe that. I'm going to choose to believe that that's why, and that's why I wasn't, although if they're willing to wear the bunny costume unwashed, because it was very clearly unwashed. Oh, it's so satisfying when you get a big train like that and just annihilate all of them. But yeah, It's just some unsettling incidents at work recently, and I want that to stop. No more of that, please. I mean, it's like, because like you got the Donnie Darko bunny costume, you got Michael Myers from Halloween. It's like all the horror movies that I've never seen are coming to haunt me because I haven't seen them. So maybe I just need to start watching horror movies to stave off the monsters. Like maybe next is gonna be, I don't know, someone wearing a hockey mask. I don't know. I don't know horror movie monsters that well. Maybe I'll get attacked by vampires, but like the real kind, the kind that pretend like they're vampires in like a weird role play thing, but they're not actually. But they attack me just because, I don't know, they're just like criminals and they just want to mug me for my money. But then they bite my neck because they think they're vampires. They don't really think they're vampires. It is a role play. But which is better than people who think they actually have supernatural abilities. Natural segue. Oh, I need to stop the brain rot. I remember because sometimes I get on weird kicks on YouTube, and one was like, a lot of times it's like, quote unquote experts react to various stuff, right? Which is usually like surgeon reacts to surgeon simulator. It's like, okay, this is interesting. But one I came across was a real witch reacts to witches in movies and TV, and it was a very bizarre experience. I think it was BuzzFeed. But get out of here. I just remember I was watching this and she was talking about it. I wasn't taking it too seriously until there came a point at the end where she was talking about like curses, and she's like, man, I put this curse on this one person who upset me once. I really effed up their life. And I was like, no, you didn't. You ridiculous person. You think you actually... It got to the point where I'm like, I want this person to put a curse on me just so I can prove that it's all BS. Like, go ahead. Maybe she'll just happen to stumble onto this live stream that no one's gonna watch, and then be like, I don't like this guy. I'm gonna put a curse on him. But then, like, if she does that, she needs to let me know so I can say, ha, too bad. My life already is screwed up by my own hand. So good try. Also, you can't actually do anything because supernatural powers don't exist. So, like, the vampires, again, they don't think they're actually vampires. That's like the whole thing. It's just a role play. This witch, she thought she was a witch. She thought she cursed a dude. Or a lady, I don't know who the person was. But here's the thing. Doesn't happen. Doesn't work. It's all nonsense. Oh, wow. That's going to take a long time to punch you, so... Oh, gosh. You can take a punch. Alright. I thought I killed everybody. Oh my gosh, there are a lot more.
Contact down.
Okay. What time is it? 9:50. And I wanted to end around 10, so yeah, I'm gonna try to get to 25 if I can. And bug out there. I think I've run out of stuff to talk about. Although actually I didn't, because I was going to talk about the movies that are coming out this weekend, which I started to talk about The Forever Purge. How I'm definitely not going to see it because I don't like to be scared. In fact, gosh, I just keep segueing to different topics. But I was watching a podcast yesterday. Yeah, I mean it was a video podcast. But The Most, which is a Rooster Teeth podcast, and they had... I was watching an old one. Because I don't actually really watch that podcast, but the guests caught my eye. It was Josh Rubin and Sam Reich from College Humor. I don't think Josh actually works for College Humor anymore, but he does some stuff with them. But anyways, the question that they were asked was the most spookiest thing that's ever happened to them. and Sam was talking about this like incident he had as a kid, seeing like a shadowy figure with a wide brim hat, and then he was talking about like how like apparently a lot of people with sleep paralysis would see that. And as much as I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that, and I very, very much don't, like I still, like my imagination is still too vivid that like I had to leave my computer screen on last night. I'll admit it, I had to. I couldn't be in complete darkness. I was like, I don't like, I just kept thinking I'm gonna open my eyes, I'm gonna see this stupid shadow hat man thing. And so it's like I need as much light in here as I can without being too ridiculous. I'm not gonna leave the light on. That's too ridiculous. That's too childish. But even the computer light on as a computer screen on as a sort of night light, I'll do it. I'll admit it. I was scared. I'm a very scared person. It happens. But yeah, I don't like scary. Do not like scary. I keep getting distracted from the main topic I'm trying to talk about. But I hate horror so much. Like I don't want to go to like haunted houses. I've always avoided those. But there was one time where my dad and I went to Universal Studios in Hollywood. It's not really in Hollywood. It's like Van Nuys or whatever. But they had like a haunted house thing going at the time. And as much as I didn't want to do it, my dad convinced me to do it. And it's funny because I don't know if I was just giving off an aura of like, don't you freaking dare. But I managed to get through that entire haunted house without getting personally jump scared a single time. It was awesome. I mean, it sucked. I hated every second of it. But I was super glad that not one of those employees jumped out at me. They jumped out at people in front of me, people behind me, but never at me. And I was very glad. And I was kind of wondering if they could tell. They could tell that was someone they shouldn't scare, because I probably would have yelled angrily. Because that's the thing about horror. I tend to get angry more than get scared. I mean, I definitely get scared, but I use anger to deal with it. Like I remember in my BioShock Infinite playthrough, it's kind of a great moment, but as far as being funny, because I'm usually not funny, but I think I've got away with being funny in this one moment, just from a natural reaction. There's that scene, that part where you turn around and one of those siren head dudes just like screams in your face, and I was not expecting it because BioShock Infinite is not a horror game, but I guess that was kind of a scary section. But anyway, that happened, and I was like, screw you, BioShock! Like, how dare you? Like, that was my natural reaction to it. I think I might have used harsher language, but I'm trying to curb the harsher language. What am I doing? I know what I'm doing. Doing this. Because that's a real useful tool for exfil. It basically makes exfil a joke as long as there's no megatons. I found that out the hard way earlier. I was playing this, and I had a megaton in the exfil section. I killed all the other zombies with like 35 seconds left, but like my helicopter ran out, and so I just had my gun, and it just took too long. Like I didn't have time to kill the megaton and its two splitters. And so I lost. I didn't get the bonus Ethereum crystals because of it. But you live, you learn. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the last perk here. Just because... Well, actually, not the last one. I'm going to ignore Quick Revive, because I don't think there's really any purpose to buying Quick Revive when you're playing by yourself. I think it does say something about like your health might regenerate faster. Yeah, which would be nice, but that's even nicer. Alright, let's do this. Let's dance. Man, he got brain rot and shocked. It's a bad day for that guy. Alright. That's another thing that sucks about the brain rot. It takes so long to actually die. So you just have to wait an extra 15 seconds for the round to end. Alright, let's go. Oh, again, I keep forgetting to go back to the movies that are coming out this weekend. So you got The Purge. I'm not gonna see it because it's scary. I'm not gonna segue away from this topic yet. And the only other movie I think there's two other movies coming out. There's Boss Baby 2, which I never saw the first Boss Baby, but I assume it sucked, and that this one is probably gonna suck even more. So I have no plans on seeing it. And I actually am gonna segue away to another topic real quick. I don't like. I guess like I go movies by myself. I fly solo, much like the zombies around here. But like I refuse to see kids movies by myself because it just feels wrong. You know what I mean? And I made that mistake once on accident because it was a movie that I didn't think of as a kids movie until like halfway to the movie theater. Like it just suddenly hit me. I'm like, oh, I want to see a kids movie, aren't I? And that was Into the Spider-Verse. And I was right. I got there and it was just like nothing but kids and their parents. I was like, I feel out of place. I feel like I'm not supposed to be here. I was so glad I went because it's such a good movie. And also, maybe it's not so great for kids because remember, spoiler alert for a 3-year-old movie, but Chris Pine's version of Spider-Man is brutally murdered in like 15 minutes into that movie. Like brutally murdered. I mean, they don't really show it, but you know what happens to him. Like, you see the before, you don't really see the after, but you can make your assumptions. Like, you know he's crushed to death by the largest man in existence. So I guess I shouldn't feel too bad for going to see it as an adult, because I think you can make an argument that it is for adults. But yeah, I definitely do not want to see kids' movies by myself, so there's a lot of reasons to not want to see Boss Baby 2. Most of which is that I shouldn't say it looks bad because I've never seen the trailer. But the first one looked bad. And I think I can safely assume that the second one will be bad as well. And then the other oh no. That corner always gets me. Oh no. Oh no. Survive. No, survive. Okay, we're good. The only other movie that's coming out is something I don't really know anything about. I read a synopsis earlier today. It was a movie called Zola, which I might end up seeing simply because like I've got this unlimited pass. I need to see movies. I need to get my money's worth. But it's like I guess it's about like someone gets invited to like a party or something, and then like it just like escalates from there. I'm assuming like I don't know, like maybe like Hangover style or like Project X or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't really know anything about it. And then there's some movies that are out from before that I still need to see or might need to see. Because I typically will see like 2 movies in a weekend with this unlimited pass. One on Saturday and one on Sunday. So I think I'll probably end up seeing Cruella, simply because like it doesn't really seem like my kind of movie, but I like Emma Stone. And it seems like of the movies that are going to be out this weekend, it's probably gonna be the one I'd like the most. So I'll probably see that one on Saturday. I don't really even know what I've heard about. I feel like I've heard middling things about it, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. We'll see. And there's another movie called 12 Mighty Orphans, which looks like it's like an old school football movie, like 30s era football movie. I know nothing about it except that it has Luke Wilson in it. I saw the whole cast and it had a bunch of like people who are usually like supporting characters. Like Luke Wilson had his time as a leading guy, but I think he lost it when he starred in movies such as My Super Ex-Girlfriend. Which, funny enough, similar time to when Uma Thurman's dropped getting leading roles. Funny how that works. I guess I should just buy ammo. It's expensive ammo. But I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to be able to afford another pack-a-punch. Okay. Didn't realize it was at the start of a new round. I guess I should have, but I thought I was already on round 24, so I was a little bit confused. See, I need to stop turning around on this hill, because that hill gets me. The hill kills me a lot. This place also kills me a lot. Ugh. Okay, so what I like to do, just for like, maybe you could probably have gathered my strategy just from watching. But what I like to do is run towards like there's certain areas like this here. Like if I don't see anyone spawning there, I'll turn around and get who I can get. Oop, getting a little too close. Do a reload. And here's another spot boat, but I got zombies spawning, so I'm going to skip it for now. So I used to use this hill, but again, I feel like that hill has been getting me killed, so I'm going to stop using that hill. And hopefully that will be a smart decision. Oh, gosh. What was that? Just points? I don't really need points at this point. Which is a funny thing to say, I guess. But yeah, I do not need points. So... I'm not going to worry too much about it disappearing. Yeah, that's fine. Again, this is extremely satisfying. I just like emptied that entire clip. That was 110 bullets that were almost 100% on target. It's a very satisfying thing. Oh no. One thing I'll say is I actually turned off adaptive triggers for this. Cause like I like the immersion of the adaptive triggers, but it makes it harder to aim. So when I'm like really trying to do good and I'm not caring about being immersed, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that kind of thing off. Oh, look at them all pop. I don't even care that I ended the round because I don't have enough to buy anything. Oh, though. Let's buy some more of that. Yeah, maybe I should go shotgun this round. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. I know I played this a lot a while ago, and then I got distracted by trying to platinum some other games. Like Oddworld Soulstorm. Oh my god, I got the platinum in that game and I cannot be happier. That game sucks and has a terrible platinum. That's extremely annoying to get, but I'm finally done with it. But anyway, when I had played this before, like the game would crash a lot. And I only mention that because, as you can see, the frame rate dipped a bit there. This is not working well. I might have to go back to, I was trying to save ammo, but I mean, I got plenty of money, so I guess I don't really need to worry about saving ammo.
Tango down. Say goodnight, shithead.
Oh, look at all those medals and accolades and points. It's awesome. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I guess what I should do, though... I lost my armor. That's not great. But what I should do is... buy some more support items for the exfil. Just buy as many as I can. Although, actually, no. Scratch that. Never mind. Never mind. That would actually be stupid. I forgot you can only carry one at a time. So if I bought something else, I would lose my chopper gunner. So never mind. Forget I ever even said it. Man, these later rounds get to be quite hairy. That's a word they use in Apocalypse Now a lot to describe bad situations. Gosh, that hill almost killed me again. Man, they're still spawning? Oh my god. I don't know if this is ever going to end. We stuck here forever. Maybe I'm stuck in a time loop. Those are all the rage nowadays, right? Even this last episode of Loki had a little bit of a time loop, which isn't too much of a spoiler because it's just a small little scene. It's not like an actual important thing. I mean, it's kind of important, but not really. It's more of a character development thing than anything. Okay. Let's buy some ammo. Let's aim better if I can. Okay. Yes, exfil is available. And this is going to be so much harder than usual because, at least for me, because I'm not used to doing it on such a late round. I usually will do it by 20. Oops, if not even sooner. Oh. The dog is going to make this even harder.
Grab the one on roof Alpha site. Get out of there before the window expires.
Yeah, I wish the timer was a little bit longer. Oh gosh. See, I also wish that the Megaton would be a little bit more like noted on the radar here. Is the yellow one Megaton? Maybe that's it. Or is that me? I might be the yellow. I think I'm the yellow. So I need to figure out where the Megaton is and focus on it. But it's like, oh, there it is. I think. Nine hostiles left. Hopefully none of them are Megaton, because if they are, I'm screwed. Oh gosh. That kind of came out of nowhere. Two? Where? Where are they? Where are they?
Window expiring. 15 seconds.
Okay, cool. Cool game. Thanks. Thank you. Muchas gracias for your fairness. Cool. Guess the game doesn't like me trying to outsmart it. Let's see, I think I needed 8 crystals to be done. So we'll see how many I got. Let's see if I got what I needed. I don't think so. Probably got like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. I'll probably have gotten a few of the I don't know what any of that means. I don't care. I remember when I cared about prestige in Call of Duty. I have not cared about that since, probably the first Black Ops. Maybe Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, 4. I needed more of those. I can't remember what the bonus is, but I probably would have gotten at least, definitely would have gotten at least 1 more, maybe even 2 or 3 more. Probably wouldn't have been enough regardless. But it's annoying that I feel like I had no say in I just want to clear that. I wish there was just a button. Just like, give me a button. Maybe if I hit square, maybe this is where the dot is coming from. Nope. Yeah, just give me a button to clear the dots. I just want to clear the dot. Okay, but anyway, let's go back to what I was trying to do. So let's put you up. It would also be nice, would be really nice, is if I could convert my higher level Aetherium crystals to the lower one, and then I could just be done with this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just need to get this one. So yeah, 5 more. Oh, so I was off. I needed 9. Or no, 8. 8, yeah, because I only spent 3. So yeah, so I need 4 more. But there is no way for me to do that without starting another one. But I do not have the time to do that. So I want to thank you all